We are live and everything.
Hey, somebody's recording us. We're live and everything.
Mhm.
Okay. All right, no, we're ready to go then, huh?
Mhm.
Okay, oh, أنا قاعد واحد كجوك. So what I don't see is Nyardi. Kazita Azrio, you just go in Oji on that just going to star on a Taruni. The Tenevada do Gungari, I guess, get the sort as the Tonka Garako than Yakin Stans in Hunzagi. A Guegu Scut Meganungwe. The Tenevada do Kundon Hetz that Gaulis than Sawa year and it Kundon Hetz. Ne agway jini ganyat rekero dana agway ko okwajiri no kosuha. Detinora do yeti sota gunhan ro na the heads to gonna go here that the hawakwe. Damdawe out on headset and because it's tasara na gunungwe. Damdawe out on headset asat ni got dart again ganyanga haga. Radinyato ronata roni dana or this korewage. Damdawe agway go on a go to gayana dasara go on escano dana. Ori wheel, Kari Wagori Shonsura, Randawana, and Gani Rio. Okay, so as you know, that whenever we get together for meeting or ceremony or council or anything of importance, we always have to carry out Gari Wadeko first. This is the words that come before all else, where we identify and give thanks for the things in creation that have created us and the things that we need to continue to sustain us. And so we always begin by giving our thanks to the great spiral of creation, that when you look up into the nighttime sky, you are not looking at cold, dark, empty, lifeless space the way that non-native science would lead you to believe. No, instead, you are looking into the living, vibrant body of our great mother, into the body of Sky Woman herself. And so we give thanks to her, to Sky Woman, as it is she who has given us spirit. From there, we give our thanks to the beating heart of our Mother Earth, to our grandmother Moon. It's she who regulates the flow of the lifeblood in all things. And so we give thanks to her, to Grandma Moon, as it is she who has given us blood. From there, we give our thanks to our Mother Earth, regardless of what color you are, what language you speak, where you have grown up from our Mother Earth, or what you imagine divides us. We have all grown from the same mother, from the same body, making us all sisters, brothers, all relations, all together, all one family. And so we give thanks to our Mother Earth, as it is she who has given us body. From there, we give our thanks to all the women, from the newest born baby girl to the eldest grandmother, as they carry the sacred title of life giver into the world and are to be honored and respected as such. We give thanks to them, for in this world, they give us purpose and direction. And this is to identify that how do they give us purpose and direction? The mothers in all strains of life, regardless of if you are a worm, if you're a bear, if you're a bird, no matter what you are taught to be by your mother. It is your mother's identity that you are following, that everything on earth is following. And so the identities of the things today in all strains of life are sacred life forms that have been following a sacred bloodline since the beginning of time. The mothers perpetuating this particular strain until you get to where what we are seeing today, like we said, bears, turtle, wolves. So it's that strain, the mothers in that line that that we give thanks for, that is the as they perpetuate, as they give new life, that is the medicine of Sky Woman. And so we give thanks to, this is how we identify that they give us purpose and direction, by showing us how to be what we are. From there, we give our thanks to the energy, the power that flows between all things, that connects all things together. If you're thinking of your own body, you think of, compare it to our Mother Earth, compare it to the entire waterverse, that there is no part of your body that is separate on its own. It can't survive on its own. You can't take your liver out and it's going to survive right there on its own. You can't, your heart, anything is not going to survive on its own. It's in a symbiosis within your body there, where there is a balance, equalization between all things, an equal importance on each element within your body. And so this sacred balance that happens within your body, as you know, perpetuates you. And so all the different strains of life, as they are taught by their mothers to be, they've come since the beginning of time up until now to be a very specific entity within the body of our Mother Earth. Just like you, again, you need a liver. So since the beginning of time, there has been a specific strain within your body that has been perpetuating itself to be your liver, to the point of where over the generations evolving to where it's up to speed with the current realities of what you're consuming, what's going into your body, not just what you're eating and drinking, but also what you're breathing, the environment that you're around, because your body is constantly absorbing everything around. So if we, for instance, if we would take a person, say from 1,000 years ago, they would not be able to survive in the current atmosphere or conditions of our Mother Earth, because they're within their bodies, the rate of evolution where they are at is for 1,000 years ago, where there was none of the pollutants that were poisoning the environment with today. So think, just for instance, what's there that we are absorbing? Well, we know that there's microplastics everywhere. So you know that we're drinking that, we're breathing it in, we're eating it. So also it's around us. So that means we're absorbing it. You think of this on a very hot day, you know that you're sweating, your pores are open. It's not just water that can come out when your pore is open. It's like a doorway through your skin into your body. So something can get in just as the sweat can come out. So pretty much anywhere where you are on Earth now, we're absorbing microplastics, just that one thing. So you think of a person from 1,000 years ago being somehow magically transported into the here and now. Again, their systems, their bodily systems, they might be able to survive for a little while. They might even live maybe for a couple of years, but the instance that they're going to be in this environment, like, you're going to feel it. Just like if you went into a building full of smoke, you're going to feel it right away. This is what our Mother Earth is now. It's full of smoke in comparisons to somebody who was breathing on our Mother Earth 1,000 years ago. And you know this, just any major city on Earth, like here, we're Ganawagi, we're 15 minutes outside of downtown Montreal, and any day of the week, you can see the pollution looming over the city of Montreal. You can see it for a long ways all around the territories, like where it spreads out to. I remember when we were in LA, living in Phoenix and working in LA, we traveled back and forth, just like the way we would travel to New York. And from Phoenix to LA, there was a constant cloud smog, constant. And this was back in, let's see, the last time we were there, we pulled out, I think it was around 82. So 82 or 83. That's 40 years ago. Holy smokes. 40 years ago, I was in LA, and driving from Phoenix to LA, it was a nonstop cloud of smog right across the desert floor. Like you'd see maybe, I don't know, maybe 400 or 500 feet off the desert floor. And you'd see that line of smog there, the same way that you see this around any major city today. Now, some major cities, you might think that I don't see no smog cloud. That's because you're in it. And when you're in it, you really can't see what you're in because you don't see the end of it. Because when you're in smog, that's all you can see from where your eyeballs are to as far as you can see. Even if the smog ended, let's say if you could see for 10 miles, but the smog ended for 5 miles, you're not going to see the nice clear sky beyond that smog because you're in it, you're going to be seeing the smog. So this is how it is now in most major cities, that the people don't even realize that they're looking at smog, that they don't know that they're looking at pollution. So anyways, let's see, where was I in the, we ended off giving thanks to the power, the energy that flows through all things, that connects all things, the life-giving force, the mothers that perpetuate it. From there to all the waters and all the medicines and all the shapes and forms they come in. And this is to identify to ourselves that you think of how many forms of water can you think of? Liquid water that you drink, ice, condensation, which means basically vapor. We look at a cloud, that's water. You're looking into the sky, that's water. So there is many different constitutions of water as there are medicines, and knowing that we are made of 100% water, that everything that grows within creation is Sky Woman's dream, Sky Woman's medicine. So as anything new is developing, anything coming into being, that this is Sky Woman's dream. This is the medicine. So you may not even realize that your existence, what you are experiencing, this is medicine. Think of it from your perceptions. You're experiencing stuff. Imagine not experiencing anything, not hearing a voice, not seeing color, not smelling, not feeling, nothing. So if there was nothing, if you could be conscious of that you're in nothing, and people have pursued this in what they call, what do they call it? Isolation tanks, to get you into that state of what they identify as like you're in the womb of a mother. It's like the same concept of the sweat lodge, but the isolation tank, it's a saline solution, salt solution. And there's maybe this much water in the tank that it's kind of like a coffin, and you lay in there and they close the door and it's total isolation, quiet, dark. And so people have pursued this state for a purpose, the same way that in Sweat Lodge, why we pursue that, because this is to get your mind back to square one. You know, get your senses back to square one, so that when you step back out into reality, that you might have a greater appreciation for the things that you just overlook right now, things that you take for granted, things that you are not even realizing is a medicine for you, or is something that's important to you. Okay, so from there, we gave our thanks to our ancestors who carried a good mind, asked them to help us to return our mothers back to their natural seat of authority within all of our nations, so they can manage all of our people properly once again, and to return every wampum within the great law of peace back to the hearts and minds of the people, to return the true spirit of peace, power, and righteousness, the balanced mind leading to the good mind. And again, if there's anything that is missing, anything that's left out, that's for you to put it in its place. And we just, for those of you that are with us, we just had another meeting in the last couple of days where this was addressed, or it wasn't addressed where it was utilized or exemplified how when you say if something was left out, for you to put it in its place. So this means, since I'm the one talking, you're the one listening to a Honda Gadi Wadekwa, it's for you to hear what is being said right now. And if there is a specific topic that we're gathered for, then whoever's doing the opening is supposed to be, the words are supposed to be directed towards that, to get our minds in that frame of mind. So if you see or think of anything that's left out or not in its place, it's for you to put it in its proper place. So you may think, how is this? If you just heard this in the past, and you hear me saying this, you might just let it completely slip by you without knowing what that statement even is. What's the practical application of it? If there's anything missing, you put it in its proper place. Okay, well, there was an opening that was just recently done for, I forget, it was a Zoom meeting that we had. I don't know if it was a public level or a private level, but I think Mary Claude may have been doing the opening. And I said in there after the opening, I said, okay, there's something there that I had to put in its proper place. I forget exactly what it was now, or
Bertram meeting with one of the members 2 days ago.
okay. Like I said, I forget what it was. It doesn't really matter. It's just for you to know that when it is said, if anything's missing and you're hearing somebody doing the opening, for you to put it in its proper place, this is an immediate addressal of everyone that is present. Now, here, since we're in social media, well, we got a different dynamic than if we were in a meeting live, while we're all there present. When you're live, everybody's there face to face. It's of course you're more engaged. It's a more you're more aware, and your interaction, your participation in the meeting is more immediate, more understandable. Then sometimes like this in social media, we're having a meeting like on Zoom or something, and you might not know where your place is, if you're speaking out of place or something. So for everyone to know that after, no matter where you are, no matter who you're with, no matter who's doing the opening, if you know you're gathered for, let's say, to talk about tennis balls, well then the person who's going to be doing the opening has got to be talking about tennis balls, has to be preparing your mind for the subject. So let's say you're sitting there listening, you're in a meeting, and you hear that the person doesn't say that tennis balls are yellow or whatever. Well then, if you know that whatever you're discussing and that's pertinent, and then the person at the end says, okay, if anything was left out, that's when you immediately, you have to be on your toes and you have to identify, okay, there is this thing that was left out that we have to put in this proper place. Now, of course, you're not going to be doing that every time there's an opening, because no matter what, if I've done an opening and mentioned 1,000,000,001 things, you're going to come out and say, well, what about this? You missed this because there's 1,000,002 things. So it's not to say that you are going to just do that anytime that you are feeling like, oh, well, what about this little thing, No, it's got to be something of importance, something pertinent, not something that is trivial, that you're just throwing out there to make yourself look like you're part of adding on to something or something like that, But it has to be something very pertinent, because within the flow, the rhythm of an Ahondagari Wadekwa and moving into the actual meeting or council part or whatever it is that's happening, there is a very important flow that is established there through the speakers, through the participants, through the managers. And so basically right now, what we are identifying is a protocol. It's a protocol within ceremony, which is transferred over to council, which is transferred over into meeting, which is transferred over into your basic relations on a daily basis with absolutely everyone. And so when you take your basic relations from the protocols of ceremony, then you know that everything else that you're doing is going to be perfect. Because when your mind is taken into consideration, ceremony, this is the broad spectrum of all human experience. And so ceremony in a sacred time, your interaction with others, with the ceremony, you're not going to be putting out anything trivial. You're not going to be saying stuff just to be looking like, oh, look at me, look how great, because then the people will see the reality and the truth of that type of person. So anyways, this is how you are to exercise your own management of Ahondagari Wadekwa. And when somebody else is doing Ahondagari Wadekwa and you're responding to it, then it's proper relations. It's your how you relate to protocols, how you apply protocols. So just think of this. You might be in an argument with somebody about tennis balls. No, they're orange. No, they're yellow. No, they're green. They're yellow. Well, you look at them, man. They're yellow until they're green, you know, until they fade, whatever. But you think you're arguing with somebody over whatever. What protocols are you applying? Now, all of us are, you could say, guilty of this. I'm guilty of it. We get into a little stupid argument with somebody. Prime example for me, I'll be in rush hour traffic and I'll say, look at that stupid whatever, you know. We got to think of our applying to ourselves, thinking, what protocols am I applying right now? Well, you might say that in the example that I just gave, when I'm doing something like that, well, you might say jerk protocols. So you go to, if you can say this and think this to yourself immediately and admit it to yourself in an instance, process it, then you can stop yourself from that type of interaction and apply the proper interaction. So I'm not telling, I'm not saying, hey, be an angel and whatever, you know, like to just allow people to walk over you, no, but to allow, not to allow, to know when to apply proper protocols, when to give somebody enough rope to hang themselves, you know, when to not give anybody enough rope to hang themselves, when to prevent it from happening. Anyways, there's a lot of things that we have to balance out in our daily lives when we are working on collective level. Now, for those of you that are here right now, you are becoming aware of this more and more because you may have been wherever, I don't know what your full stories have been, you know, your interactions with others. I don't know how much you've been out there, like to try to work, like say communally or group with a group or whatever, for environment or for your rights or things like this. But all of us have to apply. You are all finding out that you have to apply these peace protocols, and it's not something that you've applied or not necessarily applied in the past. But when you're working together communally, then you have to. And this is like what I'm saying, what we are seeing, because all the stuff we've been doing lately together, good work. Like you look at just this simple thing of a little TikTok video for Piper Lewis. Very simple. Anybody on earth could do something like that. But, you know, it's not really happening. Most people won't be motivated to do something like that. It's really like an energy that you get from a collective, like, hey, don't you think we should do this? Yeah, we should. Well, let's do it then. Yeah, okay. Well, you're gonna do this? Yeah, okay. And then it builds to where it's not just one person saying, oh, okay, let's do this. It's a big job, and might not even engage in getting anything done. So as we have been advancing over the past, since any of us have gotten together, we're all advancing together. You are aware of the advancements that you have made, and you're aware of the advancements that you and we have made together. So in the past just couple of weeks, we have all seen that there is abrasiveness when you are dealing on collective levels. There is uncertainties of some people, and that filters into the collective. So a lot of times there is these little issues or little bubbles that develop in between the people, like air pockets separating the people. And it's almost like they can't communicate through these. It's like a thin soap bubble type of thing that you can see through it, you can hear through it, you can feel through it, but to communicate through it to the other, it's almost impossible. So all of this being said, tonight, since we got only a small group of us here, and it's really just a core of us who are working together, if there is anything that anybody's got on their minds on these levels over the past couple of weeks, or not even the past couple of weeks, just anything that, even if you just thought about, what about if this happens? To adjust things in advance before they happen, to have plans, contingency plans, is to be safe. It's like having a spare tire in your car when you're going on the road. It's not talking about stuff that is, oh, don't worry, that's way down the road or whatever. Imagine if you said that to yourself when you're going on a trip across the country, and you're saying, hey, should we have a spare tire? And somebody says, don't worry, that's something way down the road, you don't have to worry about. It is something that you have to worry about. It is something that you have to plan for. Contingency plans are better to have instead of finding yourself broken down in the middle of nowhere. And broken down in communications is like being in the middle of nowhere, because as all of us have seen, when there's a breakdown in communication, meaning either that person isn't listening, or you're not listening, or also that you just can't say the right words, or they just can't say the right words. So it's better to even look in advance sometimes about, well, what's the spare tire that you would have in that instance when that would happen. Okay, so anyways, if there is anything, like you said, on these levels, if not, there isn't much to discuss tonight. So we'll go to whoever's got anything to say, and maybe we'll end up having a very short night tonight. So who's there? I cannot see.
Well, there's me that rose my hand, and there's Susan so far. So I just wanted to speak to what you commented in relation to protocols, because in the Life Givers Nation, like in the last 2 weeks, it's been a lot of points of protocols of learning, collectively, and what we actually concluded is that in the Bear Clan is that it's actually a safety net. It really is our safety. As long as we follow protocols, we know that male dominance is outside of our communication, and this is what we want to be doing. So to us, we really are, more and more, doesn't mean that we are applying them constantly, but even though when we have like challenges within the Life Givers Nation, it's always an opportunity to learn, because say protocols were not applied, everybody collectively then draw their own observation onto the situation, and everybody is growing so strong now in the importance of those protocols, because male dominant, the way we were all raised, with male dominance, it affects for sure our communication. So it's not natural necessarily that we would go, and apply those protocols. It feels sometimes heavy, but it's safe. But it wouldn't be our nature, we wouldn't be necessarily doing that like naturally. But anyways, but just wanted to share that, we've been feeling really positive recently in Life Givers Nation, and everything that we concluded and observed in the last couple of weeks. So
Eden and I had a conversation on this last night about protocols. So let's just say, okay, protocols. What are they? What protocols? Now, if anybody else other than the small group of us that's here, hears this, let's say 10 years down the road, somebody discovers this video somewhere under a rock and they hear protocols. What protocols? What are the protocols? So, well, it's plain and simple that when you break the world down into two things. This is the way the world is broken down. The reality is divided into positive and negative, up and down, left and right, forwards, backwards, whatever. So there's a protocols within that. Once you know left and right, forwards, backwards, ups and downs, and if you want to go forward, then there's a protocol in going forward as to what has to happen internally within you in order to get your body to move forward. And so then that protocol is automatically applied to going backwards, up, down, sideways, all of this. So what you're discovering is what protocol is law. What is law? Is law something created by somebody, like the way the non-native people just make up crazy laws that, oh, you got to pay your taxes to somebody for you to be able to live in this world? So you see that these are not laws. So laws are something that when you speak of protocols that most everyone on the planet will not know. They will not understand what is law, because they associate law with the law that you have to pay your taxes, with the law that you whatever that you got to abide by all these whatever crazy rules that they put into place. Say, for instance, right now, we don't realize that there is a law that we all got to live by regarding our banking, your own private monetary affairs. There's laws that you got to, who made these laws? Well, right now, what's one of these laws that you got to abide by that is stupid, that isn't a law? Well, one of these laws is that you can no longer cash a check for somebody. Well, let's say they don't have a bank account, they sign it, they give you the check. You could, in the past, you could take that check, bring it to your bank would hold it maybe for 4 or 5 business days, and it doesn't matter, you could cash that check. You could give the person or that person who doesn't have a bank account would have no barriers to being able to cash a check. Now, why would they have a check in the first place? Well, maybe they're working for somebody or something. So here's a barrier, a crazy law that's put into place that somebody who's working is actually kept from their own private monetary or economic affairs because of stupid, crazy laws. Now, you take up just that one law. You may not ever be affected by that. Not now. But if you were alive 20 years ago and you had a friend that was, say, from out of town, and they were in town just for a short week and they were working and they got a check and they're not from here, how are they going to cash the check around here? This is something that we don't think about. That right now you think that the way that you're banking is you're doing your banking, you're thinking that you're within banking freedom. You think you're within your own freedom of your own economic affairs. No, you're not. You're under some stupid man-made law that is there to restrict you further and further and to put you under more and more restrictful laws. Just further restricting. Anyway, so the people of the world today only know these kind of laws. They're for negatives. They're not anything in regarding positives. So non-native doesn't think of anything about law being that you have to conduct yourself in proper fashion, within peace, that you have certain human protocols, certain human basic laws that you have to abide by in order to interact with others properly. Now you could say, no, I don't have no laws. Okay, how is that? How is it that you don't have no laws when what you are is part of a collective? Even you, the individual, is not an individual. You are a collective of cells, a conglomeration of trillions of cells within your body that are all working together, that are all in symbiosis together. Not one single cell is saying, I'm going to the movies today. I'm going to go to the beach. I'm going to go to this. I'm going on vacation. Not one single cell in your whole body is doing that. They cannot. They can't do that. It's illegal for them to do that. Because every cell in your body, in order for them to exist, every other cell in your body has to exist. So every cell in your body, its primary concern is not itself. Its primary concern is absolutely everyone else, every other cell within the body. So you as a single cell, if you're in the body, you have to keep everything else healthy, because otherwise you are not going to be alive. It takes all of that to be healthy within your body in order for you, the single cell within your body, to benefit from the health of the body. So you have protocols that you must abide by, just like the way a cell within your body has protocols of interaction. It's the laws of nature. And this is what we identify as Gayana Rasa Rastana Go, a great law of peace. And so the purpose for this, anyone can think, let's say you're a cell in a big toe. I'm a cell in a pinky finger. We're at opposite ends of the spectrum, basically. And so you can think that you're not affected by me. You may not even be aware of me, because basically a cell within that far apart within our bodies, they're not aware of each other. It's like being on the other side of the waterverse. Like you're here on Earth and another cell is way out there on Pluto, or even beyond that in the what do they call it, the moon belt or something, the asteroid belts. Anyways, I have to, where I am, I have to abide by that law. If I don't, it puts me out of balance within that collective of where I'm at. Let's say I am a cell within a kidney, and me, just one cell, says, to hell with all you other kidney cells. These are all stupid. These are all, look what he's doing. These aren't doing nothing. You're just laying around doing nothing. I'm going to go somewhere else. I'm going to go on vacation. That one cell that pulls itself out is creating that spiritual, physical, spatial displacement syndrome there within that collective of cells within your liver. And thereby you take out one cell from, let's say, 1,000 cells. Well, then that cell is a tear. It's like a rip in the fabric, separating it. So that one cell must not pull itself out, because the tear, where that little break is, it could tear and destroy the rest, like cancer spreading. So it means that you, the individual, has a responsibility to the collective, even if you don't want to see it. You have a responsibility to the collective, because you can say it's a selfish thing. Because if you keep the collective healthy, then you'll be healthy. So being selfless for working for everything else is actually being selfish. Those two are so intertwined. so hard to separate selfishness and selflessness. It's a matter of the order in which you place them in, which means protocol. Now you can put selfishness first, and that will pull you out of that being that one cell within that healthy liver, keeping the body healthy, where you in turn will be healthy. Or you can, if you're selfish and pull yourself out of that, well, then that's a negative. It's suicidal. If you're selfless and doing all of that, taking care of all of that, you're the difference there is it's really only in intent. Because selfish, you'll be going to all those things, absorbing the power from it. Selfless, you'll be going to all those things, giving them power, making them stronger. You go in there and you'll tell them jokes, you'll make them laugh. Yeah, they'll be happy, they'll be up in spirits. Up in spirits gives them more energy. More energy in them makes you stronger, gives you more energy. It's a self-perpetuating reality of, or the truth of creation is self-perpetuating, to know that every cell is abiding by law. And so you must abide by law. Each of us must abide by law, abide by protocols, if not for any other purpose, just to provide a comfort zone, a level of comfort that everyone else can be comfortable in. You're not violating anyone. When you think of this, you got to compare the native and the non-native. This is the only way you're going to understand this, where the non-native is invasive. The non-native is invasive, going into all these things, touching them on a selfish level. They're not going there on a selfless level to strengthen all these things and to build them up and to make them stronger. They're going there to tear them down. And so this is the purpose of, or not the purpose, the difference between the non-native world and the native world is that non-native is war, native is peace. So protocols within the two obviously are the exact opposite, but non-native people coming from the protocols of war don't realize, you don't know. You don't even know for the most part ever of protocols. You don't even know until you step foot into Longhouse to have knowledge of law. You can say whatever that you've known in the past, whatever you've done, but knowledge of law, I could debate that with you if you've had knowledge of law in the past or not. And I don't mean white man's law, because that is not knowledge of law. That is knowledge of how to corrupt things and subdue things. So we must follow protocols to keep each other happy. So I apply protocols to me and to what I do so that you're comfortable. If you don't know how to do that, then I'll guarantee you that you are making everyone else uncomfortable. And, well, ask yourself, why would you want to make anyone uncomfortable? So everyone knows that here, Great Law of Peace, even Woman's Nation was established under the protocols of the Great Law of Peace and to abide by the Great Law of Peace. There's even been law recitals specifically for Women's Nation so that you could know what these protocols are. Well, you can know what these laws are and where to apply them, how to apply them, even where to begin to apply them. So everybody has been here, everybody is learning, being trained within law, within a proper relations. So what you see, when you see people resisting that, going against that, this means these are people whose minds are stuck in the protocols of non-native, which is male dominant, which is war, no peace there, which means violation on every level. It means invasiveness into people's, even into people's thoughts. You might think in the woman's nation of some things, you might think, why are you invading my thoughts with such a thing? You might think of each, on even larger scales than that. Why are people actually doing things that are going against protocols when it upsets the whole apple cart? So to adhere to protocols is to establish and to maintain peace for others. You're not establishing a protocol for yourself that's going to benefit you. You're establishing a protocol, meaning how you are relating with everyone else for the benefit of everyone else. So, yeah, I don't know if that, I know it kind of answered your question a little bit, or not even a question, but this is what everybody's confronted with anyways. So just remember, whenever you're saying protocols, you're thinking great law of peace. What's great law of peace? For anybody who doesn't know what it is, basic common sense, basic human behavior, proper human conduct of not violating, not violating others, even with your thoughts. Oh, this is what I think. This is my opinion. If we apply, like was said before you say anything, before you say this is my opinion, think it out. Is it actually your opinion? You might come to realize that even in your own thoughts, what you think is your opinion is not your opinion. It's something de factoed into you as basically like a muscle memory that because of the circumstances that you've been surrounded in, grew up in, that, well, it's just like, well, you accept it as that's the way. Okay, anyways, I don't know if you got anything to say about that.
No, that's yeah. To us, they're really sacred, those protocols, more and more like they are, but I mean, yeah.
Well, really only as a person goes deeper into law, because as you, the individual, goes deeper into law, then it gives you, of course, understanding, which establishes a level of inner peace. And as you know, everyone on earth says, oh, you got to attain inner peace. Well, all these religions that tell you how that you got to attain inner peace, they don't give you the methodology of how to do it. They just say, hey, don't do this to your neighbor. Oh, yeah. Well, they don't tell you, they don't give you the laws, tell you the laws of what's the proper things of which to do. So they just, all these religions just leave the people out there living the way that they want. And then those individual beliefs become something that's solidified in the person's mind as to being correct. It's just. And if it's just and everyone else doesn't have it, then you are a person on a higher level. And this is how religions destroy the mind of the individual, weakening them from being a part of a collective human family, turning them into an individual that is out of the collective, that no longer knows how to function with the collective. Everything that they do is abrasive to everything. And then that person, that group of people, is then like a cancer in the body because they don't know protocols. They just don't know law. In the white man's world, the non-native world, you're at war, war, war. There is no knowledge of protocols, no knowledge of law. So what we're doing together collectively is we're evolving, relearning, or relearning, or even learning things that are completely new, that you never knew, which is the reality of how how it all works and functions together. For us to say that thing that connects us from the tops of the trees to us, to the what's in the earth, that's the proper relations. That's all protocols. Right. anyways, okay, let's keep going to whoever.
Then the next one would be Susan.
My name is Susan Reese Mashike. I'm the daughter of Lillian, who carries the name Mashike and the clan Mashike. I am the granddaughter of Helen Samuels and the great-granddaughter of Mary Petoskey. I have something wonderful to report to you. Yesterday, I went with a longtime friend to go to Pomo territory at Clear Lake. I just recently found out that Clear Lake is the oldest lake in the world. I didn't realize that until maybe a week or two ago. And I met with the elders, a group by the name of the Pathfinders. And the elders have gotten together to start to try to solve some of the problems that they've been faced with for generations, especially in more recent years. They wanted to know about DQ. I was asked to present, and I did. And most of my presentation was bringing everything that you just said and everything that the collective has said from the very first reconstitution. I brought as many words and thoughts to my presentation when I spoke with the elders. They fortunately have a big a smart TV. They have Zoom capability. So I'll talk to you a little bit about that in a couple minutes. But I talked about everything that we've talked about. The fact that we have to unnumb ourselves and realize that we are still in a state of war. And the differences between what that means and the confusion that happens in our mind. We feel it and then we numb ourselves from it and we don't know that we've done this. They were like a sponge. Their spirits came up, and I wanted to thank the collective here for being able to bring this forward. Everything that we've talked about, they've already talked about. It's almost like a parallel universe. So what I'm looking at is, I think when we started this, it went out to places and people we're not even aware of. They got it. They got it in a very special way, in the old way. And I was very well received. They couldn't stop thanking me for what I said to them. And I did give them, they wanted some background on DQ. I asked them if they'd be willing to step forward in spite of the problems that we're facing, and to become board members, at least temporarily, until we can get back on our feet again. So they were certainly very receptive, and the similarities to our discussions and their discussions mirrored one another. So I want to thank everyone that's here, that's not here, that when we come together, it's working. It's working. And we want
Okay,
to
Susan,
heal.
I don't know if you're there, but you broke up for about the last minute. It was all broken.
It's on your side.
Huh. Okay. Can you hear me? Is that okay?
I think they got disconnected temporarily, and then the long
really?
got muted. Yeah, they will be back.
Okay, you can hear me now, right?
We were hearing you, only them weren't.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I'll repeat it very briefly. everything that we've talked about as a collective and individually, they've already talked about it. They saw the similarities of what I was saying and what they've already discussed. And it brought a brand new feeling into the room. They felt hopeful, and they could not stop complimenting me and thanking me for the words that I spoke. And really, the thanks really goes to the collective, not me. But they were willing to look at these things, especially when I talked about uh, uh, the life givers and the duties of us as life givers and the duties of life protectors. They were completely involved, and they want to know more. So when I got a tour of the local rancheria there, that's absolutely broken and corrupt, next to this beautiful lake that's been poisoned. And I talked about hemp. And so there's a real receptiveness to get hemp there to heal that sacred lake there that they've got. And I was all on our way up. My friend Connie was telling me the different gathering places where other tribal nations would come together once a year and have a collective meeting, and different places where you can't tell, different gathering places and things like that. So I was rewarded just being able to be part of that. It was raining cats and dogs on our way up and on our way down. So we had to go up and then go down where the lake is. So I think that it's working. It really is working. What we're doing is actually taking effect in places where we don't even know anything about. It's almost like a parallel universe in that respect. So I wanted to let you folks know, and I don't know whether there's any significance in this, but this morning I lost a part of a tooth. And I don't know whether that has any connection with what I did yesterday or not. But I was renewed, I was energized, and so were they. So everything that you've already just talked about just a few minutes ago, I've already experienced it. So miigwech to each and every one of you, because I brought as much as I could at the time that I had before those elders. Miigwech.
Yo, this is a perfect example here for everybody to use to put into perspective. How things work in what we're doing is, you think of playing tennis. You're going to serve the ball. If you want to play tennis, you're going to serve, and it's all dependent on somebody hitting that ball back to you if you're going to play tennis or not. So you may think that, well, we're playing tennis and nobody's hitting this ball back, so it's not working. No, that's not how it works. When we serve this ball, this action, this energy of love, it can only be returned to us, not by just any Tom, Dick, and Harry out there. It can only be returned by someone who is functioning on the same levels. The same receptors are opening, the same transmitters are they're receiving and transmitting. So that's the only way that the game can be played. And when you're thinking of it being like on the scale of the double helix, the DNA interacting with one another, again, you know that there is that law of the enzyme grabs that little speck of dust that's floating in that smoke and will place it in between these two strands of DNA. And as you know, if it doesn't fit, it's taken out and it's cast away. That's telling you right there, law. It's telling you protocol. It's also telling you the game that's being played, that if it's tennis, it's only something in tennis that can fit there and that will add to it. So it means that only a tennis player can serve that ball back to you. No one else can do that. So when we are putting forward through protocols of law, this agenda of Guyana Goa, it can only be returned only by very specific people under a very specific mindset who are doing a very specific thing, the exact same thing as us. And so to the world, it may look like the efforts are not going anywhere, like it's not happening. No, what is actually happening is everything else in the world is diminishing on the level of where in the double helix, that strand that's put across, if that thing doesn't fit, it's cast out. That's what's happening to everybody else. This is what the people can't see, what is the actions that we are doing. We are eliminating, not because it's our job to eliminate. We are eliminating by applying law and saying only a person who's eligible to play tennis can serve this ball back, and we throw it up there and we wait. It doesn't matter how long it takes. It could take another 500 years. It does not matter. That as long as the protocol of law is utilized, then same thing, just like in your body, you get a cut. You know, you don't got to worry about going to tell all your blood cells, hey, get over there, hurry up and start coagulating. You know that the law in your body is that your blood cells are going to go there, start coagulating. It's going to heal up. So it's this is the example for everyone else to take. This is important information that Susan brings to us tonight in order to put things into perspective for you, so that you will not be a victim, that you don't get lost like somebody who just recently got lost in a woman's nation and who pulled herself out because she don't realize, she doesn't know how these things work. And this is how it's going to be for non-native people. You just aren't going to know. It's impossible for you to know. It's impossible actually for you to even see it, to feel it. You'll observe it after it happens while we are doing it. And this will give you the training for you to actually be able to walk that path also. But you're not going to see it in the first instance because it's not you walking this path. It's not you that is established the protocols. You are quite simply a responder. You are responding. The signals have gone out, and those signals are determining who will respond and how and everything to what they're going to respond to. So yeah, everybody take note of what Susan identifies tonight, that they're doing the exact same things as us. It's not because they're talking about the exact same things as we are right now. It's because they've done the exact same things as us 40 years ago, 30 years ago, 20 years ago, 10 years ago, in the summertime, that they've been doing the exact same things as us. We're all on the same path, certain people, because we're on the ceremonial cycles of our Mother Earth, still maintaining and upholding original instruction. Now, I won't say to whatever degree anybody is, maybe they're advanced light years ahead of us. Maybe we're advanced light years ahead of them. It doesn't really matter. We are the ones engaged. And so this is how you will see that you can reach across time. You can reach through time. You can go back and you can grab that pure thought from your ancestor 500 years ago. And you can bring it here into the here and now. And that pure thought will grow here and now. I don't know if there's any truth to this. I'm repeating something right now that I could be gullible, but I seen something on social media a while ago. And it said that somewhere in the Middle East, a jar was found. I don't know how many in the past, and it had seeds in it from 1,500 years ago. And these seeds were planted, and a tree that was extinct thousands of years ago will come back into being now, in the here and now. No, I don't know if there's any truth to that. I know that, well, some seeds, I don't know how long, if seeds will last forever or not. But we do know that, say, like with corn, beans, squash, that there is a lifespan to the seed. But then there is also where you would think that lifespan is only that long and it's already gone beyond it. When you work ceremony, you can bring that back. You might not believe that. It may sound crazy, but when you think of, in the first place, where did corn come from? It didn't come from something that was growing. It didn't grow naturally. It's something that the mothers nurtured with love. They pulled it out of nothing, nowhere. Does this sound crazy? Does this sound like fantasy, mythology? Or does it sound like science? Because right now the scientists at CERN are saying that they are conjuring up an element that doesn't exist in creation naturally. They're pulling it out of nowhere. Ooh, how do they do that? With science, our mothers do that with love. Science does it from the opposite ends of the spectrum, from war, destruction. So understanding the protocols of great law of peace for the non-native world, it's going to be very hard for you. It's going to be upside down because it's protocols of love. And you may think that you know love. Well, it's impossible for anyone in the non-native world to know love. You know what you think is love based on the relative conditions that you're within. But as long as the world is at nonstop war, tell me how you're going to be in love when the war is at war, when women, children are getting murdered and killed and raped. And all you do to not know about it is just turn a blind eye. How can you know love? You cannot know love. When you are connected to a collective that is constantly at war, you are just living a fantasy if you think that you know what love is. You are just being adamant for adamant's sake. Okay, so yeah, good prime example there for us, what Susan just related about these people. Here they are, about 3,000 miles away from us, and we are scattered by time and space ourselves. So how could this be? Love. The transmissions of love, the receivers of love. There is only certain places or transmitters or receivers that you can transmit from, that you can receive from. Like in the body, each joint, each place within the body, there's a transmitter or receiver there. So it's like within the whole section of, say, like one arm, well, everybody's got to go to this joint right there to be able to transmit and to receive. But for seeing this, or I mean, hearing this, it puts it into that perspective to be able to know, like what you said, Susan, that well, they're saying the exact same things, doing the exact same things. Again, it's because of that we have been walking in symbiosis. Okay, anyways, so let's continue.
Next one is Wendy.
Bonjour, Anin in Demoy Maginag, Kibi Mashadanang Indigenous Cause, Mininug Endo down, Skownan First Nation and Dunji. My name is Flying Star. I say hello to all my relations. I'm Turtle Clan, and I'm from Skownan First Nation. I'm the great granddaughter of Marie, the granddaughter of Hilda and Evelyn, the daughter of Mary, the sister of Debbie, and the mother of Crystal. I just wanted to mention to use. I just got back. I had a first meeting. I met with Tracy Bone and Angel. They came to pick me up this afternoon, and we went out and we had supper together. It was nice to meet them, and it seems fitting for this discussion tonight, in terms of people connecting from far and wide. And so I was very happy to meet them. And, you know, as part of our discussions, like to meet like-minded people. And I certainly felt a connection to them. And so it was a very nice talk, and it was a very nice visit. And they explained to me a little bit. Actually, they asked me for their support in something that they're planning to happen here in Winnipeg, with all these people that are going to be gathering here at the center of Canada. And I had no knowledge of that. I was very honest with them that the most I knew of that, it was learning from the Longhouse, actually having met Angel at the Longhouse this past summer, and meeting and listening to the people, truckers that she brought there. So I told them, this is all the information I know. I'm not a part of any other groups. I actually just received a video today from the convoy group, which someone shared with me, a video of a grandmother speaking. And that, that's how I learned from there that I guess a group of grandmothers are planning to come here as well. And so they just explained to me that they're actually separate, and they made sure that I understood that. They're not a part of any organized group in any way. They just want to be, they just want to have a presence when they do come here. And so they're asking for my support in joining them there, and they want to have a sacred fire going. And so I told them, yes, I would support them in any way that I can. And so I said, let's just take it, as it goes. If you think of something that I could do for you, then just ask. But I will support them. And so I was very happy to make this connection today. Very much. So it's nice to be able to talk to other human beings about things that we're very passionate about. And so I was grateful for that as well. I wanted to thank everybody. I appreciate all the research and the calls and all the background information that was gathered regarding Piper Lewis, and calling for her pardon. And I know that, I've been aware of it from the Zooms and people reporting at different times. So in that sense, I've been, aware of the situation. I'm not on different committees where things are being discussed in that sense. So, what I learn is from the Zooms. And, but to be able to be, to help in a small way, I felt the connection with all of you and the hard work that you do. And so I'm very grateful for that. My contribution was very small and tiny, and just to kind of all put it together and send it out into the world, but it was all your energies that went into it. And so I just wanted to mention that. And other than that, you know, I'll just briefly mention that I've had conversations with Angel and also with Mary Claude in terms of, well, for me and Angel, you know, our conversation began when I was there. And she had asked me if I would be willing to go on a podcast with her and just share. And that's something that, of course, I say yes to, because that's actually, you know, that's where I'm at in my life. You know, I'm a survivor. I want to share those life stories and overcoming, um, you know, oppression and, you know, gaining self-love and, you know, my healing journey in that way, and, you know, becoming connected, you know, to creation and, you know, my consciousness, you know, opening up and, you know, it was a holistic health journey for me. And, you know, it was really life and death at times. I'm grateful for everything. I'm a survivor. I'm someone who's very open and willing to share what I've learned. And, you know, that's what I have to give because, you know, as for the teachings, you know, that I've received from the Longhouse and, you know, as I've expressed, you know, I've been able to heal my relationships with the women in my life that have passed. And, you know, you've talked about this connection, you know, I don't know how to say it. All I know is that I have been, even though my family members have passed, um, and my mom, for example, it's been exactly 20 years this week. And, you know, she died very young, age 58, a few days before her 59th birthday. All of my family members have gone way too young. And, you know, their lives have become a part of um, who I am now, in terms of um, the teachings that I get from, you know, from them. And none of them, you know, have died in vain. And it's all a part of the passion, um, where my passion comes from. And it's also what I'm, now that I am having a voice, I really feel that the strength of, especially from the women in my family, having for the first time in my life, having connected to my matrilineal line, you know, because I come from, you know, being the fifth generation to go through residential school. You know, I was cut off from everything. And my family, you know, are very religious. And so there's a lot of news here for me. Um, you know, I am of the generation that I am a trailblazer. I put a lot of stops to cycles of abuse. Um, so in those ways, there's a lot of firsts. And it's definitely a first in my life to start speaking publicly. And but like I said, it comes through surviving and having gratitude for what I learned. And I'm someone that would sign up for it again today. If I had to sign up for my life, I would sign up again. Absolutely everything that I've been through, because it's made me who I am today. And that's what I want to share with people. I want to give my young relatives hope, to anyone that may feel hopeless, because there's certainly been times that I have been hopeless, and I know what that feels like. So there's those teachings there of survival and overcoming colonization, but it's also a process of decolonization in my mind. But it's been a holistic journey for me. And when I say that, I mean, I had to look at my I had to work on all areas, my mind, my body, my spirit, and my emotions, because they're all connected and one thing helps the other. And so I've learned that by doing just one day at a time and by asking for help. Because I know it's not just myself, I'm very much helped in ways that I don't even know. And I have absolute trust in the invisible of what I don't know, where connections are going or where things are leading. And that's what I shared with Tracy and Angel today. I said, you know, I'm not going to give you 100% commitment to anything. I said, let's take it as it goes, but already since I got home, I did think of, well, one thing I could do for them if they want to promote something on TikTok, well, I could start working on something like that for them, and we'll take it where spirit goes with it, and and that's just to get back to, the idea of sharing stories, talking about, our teachings. I'm excited about that because, I want to continue to learn about moon time and grandma moon and have young girls hear that conversation. My granddaughters hear that conversation. That's one thing I shared with the women tonight, was it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. I don't care. I this is a new life for me that I'm beginning. Everything has brought me here, and I'm grateful. I'm a survivor. I know what it is to fight for your health and your life, and I want to encourage others in that way as well. Health will always be a part of my conversation, because of how my journey, it still continues, and I still want to continue to get stronger, not only physically but mentally, spiritually, and emotionally. Um, those are all things that are a part of us. It's what makes me whole. It was the first medicine will teaching that I ever received. And yet I come back to that. It was there the whole time. And that's what it's amazing. I just never talked about it with others. I never shared it. And, you know, you know, I guess that I'm just going to leave it there. Um, um, that's where I'm coming from. And so I understand when you talk about law, because I had the most gifted medicine I could receive is when I went there to listen to the great law of peace and be there for 22 days. That's a perspective that I carry now, and that is going to be with me, unraveling, for a very long time. And I shared with the women that it's only
Are we
been like,
there?
yes. Can you hear me?
The Longhouse is frozen again.
Okay, I'm going to wrap it up.
Yeah,
Just
they
let
will
me-
come. Okay, now they're back. Can you hear us, Longhouse?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll just leave it there then, Miigwech, for listening to me. Yeah, so I'm open to that conversation, like however it goes. I'm certainly willing. And Miigwech, thank you so much.
Yeah, we'll go to you. very powerful. I could say from the things that you said, from looking at it as life giver and the things that you're doing, I could say it's very beautiful. But I choose to say it's very powerful because of just the little bit that I know. I don't know you, like I said, I don't know your story. I know only a little bit, and to know just that little bit that I do know of you, and to see and to hear what you're doing now, just from what we knew from last year, you know, that very powerful. You are the living proof of, if there's anybody out there who's saying that they want to do something, they want to have their voice heard, they want to stand up and do something, but we see so many of our people not doing anything, not even knowing what to do, not knowing how to get their voice out there. So anyways, just from what we've seen in the little time that we've known you, known of your story, of your past, that this is something very powerful that's happening with you. Maybe, I don't know, maybe others who have known you their whole life, maybe they would say the same thing also. Maybe they identify this is something powerful. There's some kind of power flowing through you, that you're in rhythm with some kind of rhythm, that you're in the groove, you know, you're moving with it now. Anyways, it's a very powerful thing, very beautiful to hear any life giver that's talking on the true path. And this is to say, there's a lot of life givers out there who are talking just as much bullshit as the false prophets of guys that are out there, you know. So it's good to hear the true stuff, the stuff that is our journey, our knowledge, what has happened here, what we are doing, how we are springing back into action, where we may have been in a bit of a short time where we shut down, you know, just like a victim who is getting maybe killed, but their mind might shut down to be able to deal with the circumstances. Our mind may have been shut down for a little while, but our mind is opening back up and we're dealing with stuff. And what I see in you, again, just in this short time, and the things that you are doing now, you are very symbolic of this awakening of our people in the true thing, not of the bullshitters out there saying, oh yeah, our people, but at the same time they're asking for more government funds, you know, more social services, more policing, more education. They're asking for more of the problem, and they're not standing within our identity and fighting that. Anyways, to see this is powerful stuff that's happening. And yeah, we'll say now we'll go to you, because through the networking now, together we've been able to get what we want to get out there about Piper Lewis. We've been able to do that on a level now where we weren't there before. I mean, big deal. Anyone else on earth can say TikTok, no big deal. Well, you got us there doing that, spreading the information there. Nobody else of us expanded into that area. So yeah, and y'all will go for that. That is on the level of what I said earlier, of me doing something that looks selfless, but it's actually selfish, because I am going to be the ultimate recipient of that good work. You are going to be ultimately that recipient of that good work. How it's going to be, maybe not, obviously not in the same circumstances or conditions that Piper Lewis is experiencing, but it might be somewhere down the road where maybe 10 or 15 years from now, where maybe you have to be getting your own water. Somebody's going to come along and say, here, I'll carry that water for you, because it was you and that awokened me. It was you, what you were doing, what I seen, that got me started. And this is how these things will come back. you will be the benefit of your actions here today. But it's not right now in the here and now where we benefit from it. So, I'll go for everything. A lot of big stuff coming up in that area. And maybe like what you said of these grandmothers, maybe it's just that everybody is responding to the vibration now of our Mother Earth. She's resonating on levels. Just imagine if we could hear her voice. What would she be saying to us right now? Would she be saying, "Happy birthday, everyone"? Or would she be screaming out in pain and agony? Would she be screaming for our help? So just, what's that? What does that say?
Oh, you're not plugged in.
I'm not plugged in. How could I not be plugged in? Who unplugged me? Give us a second. We got to plug in here. I don't know why. What the hell? How is this unplugged? Okay, a little bit of a sidetrack here. There we go. Okay, anyways, yeah, so the grandmothers going there, it might be just this everyone on Earth, hopefully this is what's happening. Everyone on Earth would be hearing the resonance of our mother now. Our mother's getting killed, that's all there is to it. There ain't going to be anything good coming from her. There isn't going to be any kind of happiness or any kind of love being showered upon the people. There's only going to be pain and misery and suffering now. And this is everything that we are seeing that's happening in the environment worldwide. So we're going to see a lot more of this stuff happening, worse stuff happening, catastrophes within the environment. We're going to see things just blending. Maybe we're going to see snow in summer and summer in winter and things out of balance, completely out of whack. So this is what our mother is doing. There is, again, she's been killed. There's no way in hell she's going to be asking us if we want cookies. She's not going to be baking us cookies. She's not going to be loving us, showering us with love. It's going to be, if there's going to be any love, it's going to be coming from us. It's going to be coming out of our realization as to what's really happening upon our Mother Earth. So the reality is that, well, you know that the native people are in tunes and sync. So the native people are already in this motion, already in that action. So the grandmother's going there. It's kind of like you might just think that, hey, there's a football game. So all the players know they got to go there. Even the ones who are the bench warmers know they got to go there. Even the cheerleaders know they got to go there. And all the people who are the audience know they got to go there. So this is what's happening right now. The big show is breaking down and everybody's going to respond to what's breaking down. So the power that's flowing through you, the power that's flowing through the life giver right now, it's got to be more women, more life givers gotta wake up to be that voice. And it could be non-native women, you know, and just think of this. It would be the native women giving up their spot if they allow it to be the non-native women. Because here, the native women are here and they are running around acting like white women, where white women are seeing the urgency and the reality of what's happening to our Mother Earth, and they're wanting to do things to save, to heal, where our people are more than ever accepting the stupidity and acting like that white man. Anyways, it's the realities that we're dealing with, and each of us got to play our role in there. So now we'll go into that. I think that you yourself are seeing things, well, obviously seeing things in a different light than you were just a year ago. How good it is to be able to just to speak the voice, just to push the voice out there, and to know now, like all of a sudden, you're in motion. You're moving in things in areas where people are looking to you, asking you, where maybe just last year or 5 years ago, you were just dormant, maybe just not doing anything. Well, here, look at how it works, huh? Magic.
Mhm.
Find out all of a sudden that you and every other life giver within the original peoples have the most important role to rise to. It's just that most are not rising. So you're rising, so Nyawagoa, that is where the power's at. Okay, so nobody else, nothing else really for us to talk about. I mean, we could just hang around and whip a dead horse. But if there's nothing else that anybody wants to address, we'll give a minute. Just think anything that you wanted to throw out there. Maybe even if it isn't something, as let's say, to have an immediate response or answer right now. Maybe it's just something you were thinking of. Okay, so we'll say this then. Okay, where are we? We're at the half. Are we at the half moon tonight, or is that tomorrow?
It's tonight.
Half. Okay, so this means the door is starting to open. The time of the cleansing, where everything is being pulled away from us in the male moon, the full moon, the cleansing moon, the pulling of the bad, the door is closed to that now, and the door is opening to the other cleansing, where we get the replenished blood. So it's a different move, a different spirit movement that we're in now. We need to be cognizant of it. Everybody should be, each day when you wake up, identify what day is this, either past the new moon, or before the full moon, or past the full moon, or before the new moon. Identify this, keep track of it, and soon you are going to see, you're going to feel the movements of the moon. Mary Claude identified this changes that she's experiencing. Maybe you relate that.
Yes, well, I was actually thinking about it while you were speaking. I'm menopausing very intensely right now, and I just exited 49-day cycle. So my moon started the day before yesterday, and I look up. I also tried to look up when the moon is rising, when she's setting. And my moon started at night around 10:15 or something, and I looked up, and the moon was rising at 10:19. So I'm making links that I wouldn't, be doing, otherwise. So yeah, it's the yeah, and I now feel the quarters. I really feel when our grandma moon is, as changed the direction of things. I felt, okay, now she was taking the bad. Okay, yeah, okay, good. And then now, oh wow, okay, it feels much lighter. There's like it's like inspiring, new ideas. It's lighter, and amongst the whole hormonal wave that also are part of this, it's pretty intense, and it's great to be able to talk about it amongst life givers. We did talk about it in the Bear Clan as well. So yeah, just so grateful to know about the cycles of our grandma moon and learning more and more. So yeah.
And that doesn't apply solely to life givers. Now, you might think that, well, because a woman has, a life giver has a, what do they call it? Your internal clock, that your moons come. You're not in control of that. You might think, well, that's the domain and solely women that's going to experience that. No way. We are sons of you. So how could we not experience that also? The only way we could not experience that if we are completely oblivious into male dominance. But of course, if we were male dominant, the only way you'd be able to pull us out of that is through knowledge of your moons. So knowledge of your moons has been intrinsicated into your sons ever since you've had sons, ever since the first life giver gave birth to their first son. So knowledge of your moons, knowledge of the moons has been intrinsic also into the males. So also the males would become like second nature into having knowledge of what moon you're in, just by quite simply, of course, keeping track of it. Now, you keep track of it long enough, you don't even have to say or to think how many days before the full moon. It's not that you are going to say, oh, well, I feel that's this many days and you're going to be correct. It's just going to be that you are going to be feeling or sensing like in the general vicinity to know, okay, it's the full moon that's coming up. And then you'll know it's the new moon that's coming up. And then eventually you'll be able to get to, oh, it's the opening half, it's the closing half. And once you're there, then you're going to be able to automatically, it'll be in there as to what day after new moon, what day before full moon, what day after full moon, what day before new moon. You will automatically get into a sync, a natural rhythm with the natural lunar cycles of our Mother Earth, what she responds to. And this is what we got to respond to. And as we know, we are intimately linked and triggered by the responses that our Mother Earth has to larger movements. This is where we all get our rhythm of sleeping and being awake. We get our rhythm of being awake for 2/3 of the time, sleeping for 1/3 of the time. Why is that? Why is it divided into thirds like that? What is it? Isn't that a funny connection to us at Nigat Dardige, to Turtle, Wolf, and Bear? That is a very funny connection. And when you think of, if you place a template of say 24 hours, and you look at where you fit within this, your sleeping patterns, and if your sleeping patterns and your awake patterns, you know, it's divided into 3. So then you might start to see, are you sleeping in turtle, wolf, or bear time? Are you awake in bear and turtle, or are you awake in wolf and turtle time? You will start to see the interaction between the 3 and how in reality here in law, bear and turtle will never touch, but in dream state, bear and turtle can touch on the spirit level. Just a whole bunch of things to know, to balance out, that will give you a better comprehension of the cycles of our grandmother moon. Once a person has those better comprehensions, again, it'll become something that you just feel, that you'll be in rhythm with. You might not have to be precise to the day. It'll be a movement within you. And once it's a movement within you, you can like bounce it off of others to say, hey, is it this time? You know, like say, hey, it must be almost time, man. This is usually what Edith hears me say. I ask her this all the time. This is we must be close to the moon now, you know. And then, well, then she'll say, or she'll look, either she knows and says, yeah, we're a few days before, or else she'll look and she'll go into looking at her moon in relation to the moon, and a whole bunch of things factored in just to say, yeah, we're going to be close to the moon, and even then to discern the amount of days. So it's a matter of first being general, and then articulating. So this is what everybody's got to learn to do, is to be general in your observations of the lunar cycles. Be more observant of that. Tomorrow, wake up and say, well, this is now 7 days before. We'd be 7 days before the new moon, right? New moon would be next Saturday then. So wake up tomorrow morning and say 7 days before the second new moon,
Tomorrow
6
will be
days,
6.
5 days, 4 days, 3 days, and then all of a sudden you're back up to 7 days. And sometimes you might find out this way, you by observing that, like what we found out last summer, is that there was more days to I think it was the first quarter. Yeah, Edith, do you remember? It was 9 days to a first quarter of the moon.
About
9.5 days.
oh yeah, okay, yeah.
So when you're counting this way, let's say you're counting from right now to the new moon. Now a better example would be to be counting from the half moon to the full moon. That's the best example because you'll be able to see them. With the new moon, you can't see it. So let's say you start counting from the half moon, you're counting to the full moon. So you know that it should be 7 days. So by the time you get there and you're looking at the full moon, you can say, hey, wait a minute, that's not 7 days. It might be 8 or 9 days. This is how you will get, instead of being stuck into a monthly calendar with 29 days or 28 or 30 or 31, instead of being stuck into a stupidity like that, you would start to realize the rhythm. You would start to see an expansion and a contraction. And that it doesn't always happen within a set time frame of a quarter or the half, but it will always be fitting into that one complete cycle. Different ways of looking at things, of understanding time and our how we fit into this space and time here. Okay, nothing else, so we'll come to a close. What do we got going on? Nothing tomorrow, eh? We got a free day. Okay, Monday we got one thing. It's this thing with this conference thing. Edith, I don't really know. Maybe you can give a brief.
Yeah, it is on Monday. It's gonna start at 4. I'm just trying to look for it to share it. It is gonna be in Spanish translation in English, of course, because this is an initiative from a friend of Gloria that lives in Colombia, and he is gonna be opening, and he's the one that really wants to create and promote more the exchange between the North and the South. So this is his initiative in order to do so. He's very excited. He's written like letters to a steward, you know, saying how happy he is about that, how important it is to connect. He has links with people, of course, in different countries, so-called countries down there. So, you know, it's good to have initiatives like that. So it's not going to be a Zoom participation or anything, because we are really respecting the fact that he's the one that is inviting us. So it's going to be streamed live on Facebook in his page. So it is down here. But of course, what we are going to do is share it in Stewart's, well, in the Longhouse page as well, so everybody can have access to see it.
Okay, let's think about this a minute. Is there a way that we could do a Zoom between us? Have anybody here who wants to be like a resource person? Let's say he's asking me about something, some medicine, about something, and I don't have the full information on that. Let's say maybe Wendy does, maybe Susan, maybe a dream or something that they had. If we have here in our Zoom, have a Zoom here where we can have that interaction, and then have him on his, I don't know if you understand what I'm saying, if that could work out anyway.
Yeah, that's why I had already asked you if you thought that we could ask him if we could invite everybody to the Zoom, because that would be the most easiest way to do, because managing 2 Zooms like that, he wouldn't be able to see the people that would be in the second Zoom. So that would just complicate things. But you did say, well, let's not push too much on him, everything. So it's really more your call, because I get what you're saying, but the feasibility for that is kind of like complex.
No, I'm saying not the same Zoom, a separate Zoom. Where
Yeah,
he,
that's what I'm saying. It can be done. The only thing is that he wouldn't see the person interacting. So
yeah,
that's
that'd be fine. We could tell him, we want to respect what he's doing right now, first off, like this. But we are also, like, as you know, everything has to be very public. We can't do anything private. No one should be doing anything private. So anybody who is a part, you got to think that if somebody's seen this and they said, look at that stupid ass, he's lying or misleading. Well, if there's people there in our own Zoom that could say, hey, you left this out, or say this, or whatever, to remind. And maybe it wouldn't even have to be utilized, as long as it's there as a fail-safe, something to fall back upon, or to actually for other people to be feel that there's like a mechanism there for us to be able to draw upon. Even though it's just him and I talking, that we could still have access to the whole brain. I don't know, we'll think about it. This is Monday. So let's think about if this could work. And if it can, well, everyone who's here, you're going to hear about it anyways. You're going to be notified about it. If it can work, then that's what we'll do. If we can't work, then that's what we won't do. Okay, all right then. We're just going to do the closing then. And what do we usually do for the closing here? Hey, Wendy, how do you feel about doing the closing tonight?
You're muted.
Is she there?
Yeah, she's unmuting herself.
Is she talking?
She's trying to find the button, I think. We didn't hear you, Wendy. You're
Okay, sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Actually, I don't know if I'm ready for that, Stuart.
Okay, all right, no pressure.
Okay.
That's completely fine. Who else is with us? Is Susan there still?
Yes, she did.
Susan, how do you feel? Do you want to do the closing?
I feel like Wendy.
Okay, all right, that's fine. All right, Ida, you want to do the closing?
Oh, come on, Susan and Wendy, we can do it together.
Well, we're laughing together. I mean, it's gotta mean something.
Yeah. Wow, my goodness. Well, my name is Edith. I am the daughter of Soko, granddaughter of Panchita, great-granddaughter of Celsa. From the Zapotec Nation, I was born in Mexica territory, and I am under the protection of the Wolf Clan of the Five Nations Longhouse Confederacy, and temporary representative of the Wolf Clan for the Life Givers Nation. So we would like to give thanks to everybody that came here today, and also the fact that the work that we are doing is growing, that we feel the love that is transpiring in spite of all of the obstacles that can be around. So Nyagoa for everything. So we want to give thanks to Sky Woman for the spirit that she gives us, for allowing us to be here, for the work that has to be done. Also to our Grandma Moon that is right now changing gears, and that is ready to start giving us all of that we sent to her. So in this back and forth, we're ready to receive everything that is coming in this cycle of 14 or so days until she reaches the next transition point. So we are working with you, Grandma, receiving everything. We also want to give thanks to our Mama Earth for the love that she gives us, for how resilient she is and how strong she is and how she's talking to us. So Nyawa for the dreams that she gives us. Nyawa to all of the life givers in all of their shapes and forms, also to the waters, the medicines, and for the conscious choice of being a good medicine and receiving the good medicine of the law and discerning. So it's a whole path, it's a learning process. So we acknowledge that and we give thanks for that too. We give thanks also for the twins that help us in the balance, for the clans, Turtle, Wolf, and Bear, and all of the clans that they wake up, that they enact, that they come back, that they revive. We also give thanks to Jagun Sese. They're gonna weed all of the peacemakers, female chief, male chief of all of the territories that walked on the path, that worked for peace, and we inspire from them and we ask them, and also the good spirit of our ancestors to help us to bring back the truth, peace, power, and righteousness back to the people, and also the big love so we can do the job that we are doing. And we also give thanks for the balance between the female and the male, and for the councils that we are slowly but surely bringing back. And if there's any obstacle to that, we always push it on the 3 levels of the existence. Eres awet, eres awet, eres awet.
Go on. Don't see each other.
Yeah.
See ya.
Eat. Peace.